Good morning, Chodesh Tov. Well, Guten Chodesh. Welcome to Keilat Shari Torah's daily review of Maimonides' 613 mitzvahs, the Sefer HaMitzvot of the Rambam. We have worked our way through all the positive commandments, all 248 positive, and we are well underway at going through the prohibitions. The negative commandments we're up to number 67, and a number of these have to do with actually the next group that we're going to mention. Have to do first with prohibitions in the times of the sanctuary, the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary that was carried with us. When we went through the desert out of Egypt after Mount Sinai on our way to the Promised Land, on our way to Israel to come home to Israel, we carried a portable sanctuary with us, and that traveled in the middle of the Machane Yisrael, of the Jewish camp, as we made our way through the desert. And that was our sort of focal point for communal offerings. Moses and Aaron would address the people there, and so on. It took a while, once we came into the land of Israel, to build a permanent, what was intended to be a permanent sanctuary, a Beit HaMikdash, a house of the holy on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Mount Zion. The combined duration of both temples, the first temple and the second temple, was just a little bit over 800 years, and we are waiting for that to be rebuilt. In the meantime, we learn these mitzvot, and we are credited as if we kept the mitzvahs. Some of these, since they have to do with Kohanim and Levi'im, for those of us who are Israelites, who are Yisraelim, who are not part of the priestly tribe, though they're inapplicable to us in the best of times, because we aren't allowed to participate at that level in the ministering in the temple. However, in engaging them through learning, we're able to embrace them fully, arguably even more than we could in the temple times. So we'll go through these without a great amount of detail, and we'll appreciate that we're keeping these mitzvot by not doing them. Number 67, prohibition number 67, we are forbidden from interrupting the watch over the sanctuary. It says in the book of Leviticus, Ushmartem es mishmeres hakodesh. You have to keep a watch, keep charge of the holy things. In other words, there's to be a guarding, a protecting, a constant surveillance of the sacred precincts, of the grounds of the Mishkan, later of the temple in Jerusalem, all the time. We actually mentioned this in connection last year with keeping watch over the synagogue in the times when we weren't gathering regularly for services. Now, thankfully, we're at least some steps back into the process of gathering for a more regular minyan. Hopefully, that'll improve even more in days and weeks and months to come. But we are supposed to keep a constant watch there. Prohibition number 68: the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, is forbidden from entering the sanctuary, into the Kadosh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies, at any time other than the prescribed time. We just went through Yom Kippur just a few days ago, earlier this month, and the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, has a mitzvah on Yom Kippur and only on Yom Kippur to enter there 4 times in the course of the day. However, if he entered a 5th time, even with the best of intentions, he incurred the punishment of death by the hand of heaven. So it is a very special place, and only to be entered only by that one person, only on one particular day of the year, and only the prescribed number of times, not anymore. The following negative commandment, the prohibition number 69, is a priest with a mum, with a blemish, entering any part of the sanctuary. A Kohen who has a mum, and there's a great discussion about exactly what a physical blemish that kind would prohibit him from entering the temple, and it goes together in a way with negative commandment number 70, prohibition number 70, a priest with a mum ministering, doing any kind of the service, the avodah, the offerings, and so on in the temple. Priest with a physical defect used to pick out the wood. They used to sort the wood that had worms, as any piece of wood with worms in it was unfit for the altar. They did auxiliary work, but part of the service itself they would not engage in. A priest with a temporary blemish, a mum oiver it's called, that's a blemish which ultimately will heal itself, or is in the process of doing that, he's also forbidden to enter into the sanctuary, and ultimately later on in the temple. Next prohibition is the Levites, the Leviim and the Kohanim. The Kohanim and Leviim, the Levites and the priests, are forbidden from performing each other's allotted services. So the certain jobs that a Levite has to deal with music, with chanting psalms in the temple, and a Kohen obviously to carry out all the aspects of the divine service on the altar and attendant to that. So they were not allowed to switch jobs. They were forbidden from switching off jobs and doing each other's work. One that is somewhat relevant to our times, or at least we can extend a lesson from it. It's forbidden to enter the sanctuary, to go into the temple, any part of the temple grounds, or to give a decision on any law, to give to paskin a halacha, to issue a halachic decision while intoxicated. Certainly, there are times when we are allowed and encouraged, even for those for whom such things are advisable, to say l'chaim and to raise our glass in thanksgiving or in appreciation or in celebration of life. However, a Kohen should not enter the sanctuary, and anyone who is a responsible teacher of Torah should not issue any rulings while they are under the influence of alcohol. We have some more of these. We will continue with them tomorrow. In Eretz Hashem, let's just remind ourselves that for today, October 7th, it is the second day of Rosh Chodesh, and we are, as yesterday, adding Ya'alev V'Yavo in our Birkat HaMazon, in our Shacharis, and Mincha prayers, not in Ma'ariv anymore. But following Shacharis, we say the abbreviated form of Hallel. We skip those two paragraphs that are indicated in the Siddur. There is a Torah reading for those davening with a minyan, and we are removing our tefillin after the Torah reading or after Ashrei Uvel Etzion, and reciting Musaf, Musaf for Rosh Chodesh, not wearing tefillin. Okay, it should be a good month, a happy month for everybody in our shul, especially for those families celebrating simchas, but really for all of us by extension. It's like a simcha in the family. So please God, it should be good things for everybody and all in the best of health. Chodesh Tov, Mazel Tov, all the very best. Have a good day.